Guys, okay, so a couple of things. It's been a roller coaster ride last 2 days for me. My laptop broke down. I went to Apple store like 1 hour before my flight was, and when I went there, they took my laptop and told me that it will be fixed in 2 days, as they usually do. Most of you know. So, at this was supposed to be an interactive session where we would code together, perhaps, if possible. Having said that, that is not possible since I don't have my laptop at all with my own self. And unfortunately, I did not do git push. So, yeah, that's where we are at. But having said that, I'll give you a quick understanding of where I come from and who I am. I have worked with various Series A startups in the past as a CTO, fractional CTO, DevOps lead, infrastructure lead. Essentially, I love to take up challenges which other people hate doing. That's in one line that you can get to know me. First thing. Second thing, right now I am a digital anthropologist. Fancy word, simple meaning. I go around and I'm talking with people who are at the forefront of AI and implementing it. And I work with them and I interview them to figure out what practices they are bringing in and how that's changing software engineering for us as a whole. Now, since this is a React Play event, we are going to be focusing on front end. So even though my laptop glitched out, it's good news for you because you're getting first dibs on all the front end research that I've done with these founders. As an example, yesterday I met Paras Chopra. If you guys know about him, he had an event there at Lost Funk, and I've been in touch with him for like 6, 7 odd months before this. And at the same time, I met the found one of the people, one of the parts of a cooperative, Nilenso. I'm not sure. Did you guys see Andre Karpathy's talk recently at YC Startup School? Yeah. So Karpathy mentioned a blog that was from the same cooperative. They're in Bangalore. So I met one of them. I met AMD engineer as well who has been working in Rock M. I'm not sure if you guys know about it. CUDA, if you have heard with NVIDIA. Similarly, AMD has its own language. Ready? Cool. So before we get started, can everybody get up a bit? Like just to shake off the laziness that has set in because we've already had a 30-minute talk. This is going to be a long talk. Unfortunately, we'll not have code here to get you excited. So can we stand up, guys? So if you may. You are younger than most of us here. All right, cool. I am, pardon the use of some help for my end. These are my notes. Because I'm going to be telling you my research, I want to be as factual as I can be. So that's why I have these notes with me. And this is not a pre-prepared talks. You are literally getting first dibs on something that was supposed to come out 7 months after this. So here we go. Okay, let's do one quick thing. Can everyone who has done this please stay standing? If you've ever had an AI generate a perfect looking React component that completely broke when you tried to integrate it into your actual app, you can sit. Let's do sit. So if you have you generated a perfect React component which looks perfect, but it broke your app as soon as you added it to the app. Yes? Yes? All right. Perfect. So here's an uncomfortable truth for you. This is something that is corroborated by even Google engineers. AI gets us 70% of the way, but the 30% it does not let us through. You'll see a lot of text, a lot of visualizations here, but in effect, there's a 70% wall. Guys, please do sit down. Sorry, I feel like a teacher keeping you standing. So there's a 70% wall here, and that means something. You guys have you guys are all probably working in front end or back end, even some of you, from what I could gather from the brief things. Oh, so, and one thing that you should be sure of is that everyone is facing this wall. Now I am here to help you understand how can we go ahead of this wall. But before we get there, we need to move forward and understand where we are and why we are there. So here's today's thesis. AI isn't making us faster coders, it's forcing us to become better architects. And that's actually the most valuable thing that could happen to all of our careers. So that is the thesis, and I'm going to be proving this today to you. All right. So this is, oh, sorry. I am so not used to these. Um, so this is a quick question to people who sat down. You sat down, right? So can you share with us a quick example of when that happened, where you generated a perfect looking React component, you integrated it, and it blowed your app to smithereens?
So I was trying to build a form, right? A React form I was trying to build, and it was like very niche. It was very specific. It was related to a banking form, and so because the form is so big, I thought, okay, let let me take help of Cursor and do that. I've written a prompt like few lines. I copy pasted it, and it broke. It was so not good, which it absolutely not what I was expecting. So I ended up writing it myself.
Simple example. All right. So I'll quickly tell you a summary of why this happens, what we can do and what we cannot do. I will probably need to do this before we move forward. Yes. So here's a list for you guys. This is exactly what AI gets and what AI does not get. I'll read it off the script and we'll discuss a bit about it afterwards. We have basic component structure, simple use state management, basic event handlers, individual hook usage. They work fine and great, right? And that's 70% of it. Now, what AI cannot do? AI cannot tell when we want to take over our workflows. The AI cannot tell you that, okay, now is the time to take the state onto a parent component and raise it up instead of keeping it down. Why does that happen? Any guesses? Any guesses, guys? Have you ever seen an AI suggest you that hey, you should probably move the state upwards? I'm pretty sure if you are using Cursor, Windsurf, any of these editors to build front ends, you must have seen that it never ever does that for you. Instead, it'll instead increase complexity on the same component, even if you have the parent component in the same file. It never raises the states. The reason behind that is very simple. The thinking that it takes is imperative, while React is declarative and componentized. That's the difference in thinking that we are seeing here. Oh, thank you. I'll do this. Yeah. All right. So AI basically treats React like fancy JavaScript instead of understanding its declarative and component centric nature. This is exactly what I said, summarized for us, brought to us by Claude. I'm sorry, I had like 50 pages of research which I needed to summarize today for you guys. So I'll tell it to you in my words and I'll summarize it for you afterwards. That's how the whole talk is going to be like. Now, before we move forward, I'd like to understand, guys, just to get a lay of the land, how many of you are senior engineers here? You have had at least 5 years, at least 4 or 5 years of experience in the field. Can you please raise your hands? Okay, okay, a decent bunch. How many have had upwards of 3 years of experience, 3 or more years of experience? All right. How many have had less than 3 years of experience? Okay, perfect. So, guys, the ones with less than 3 years of experience, this is going to be a really good talk for you, especially because you guys are probably using cursor wrong. The senior engineers in the room can corroborate. They have gotten 2 to 3x faster because they set two things, goals and guardrails. Whenever they are telling AI what to do, they say, do this in this particular manner to get this. And this should not be happening like this. By the way, negative prompts work fine now. They did not used to work fine when ChatGPT and Claude come out. But for some reason, people have this allergic reaction even now to negative prompts. So yeah, let's move to the next one. Yeah. So this is where we are at. The uncomfortable question here is that is AI making us 2 to 5x more productive or not? A lot of you are writing code, especially front end, but we don't feel 2 to 5x productive. There's a reason behind it. And this is why we are going to do a quick interactive poll here with you guys. What do you think was the biggest bottleneck in React development before AI? Please raise your hands as I say the options. First option is writing boilerplate code. Whom of you think writing boilerplate code was the biggest bottleneck in your React development workflow? Raise your hands. There's nothing to be ashamed of. All of these are valid. There's no right or wrong here. Great. You are a senior engineer. So, debugging complex state issues. Who had that as the biggest bottleneck in in the React development? Okay, I see a few. I see a few. Great. Understanding the requirements of a UI. All right. And making architectural decisions. How many of you thought that the biggest bottleneck that you have ever faced in React development? Okay, quick question. How many of you are React developers here? All, I hope. Okay, why am I not getting hands? Okay, I'll have to ask new questions then. This has worked. This question I've asked at 6 different workshops around Delhi NCR and Gurgaon, and people have had these four raised, but a lot of you don't seem to have the problem. Okay, what was the biggest bottleneck for you guys? Does anybody want to talk about it apart from these four that I just spoke of? Just a one liner, please. We'll get to descriptions. Hmm? So debugging complex state issues, right? That's B. Any others? Guys, you're not raising hands, so there must be some reason, right? There's something in your mind. Please speak in like one sentence. I'm not expecting you to give me a lecture on it. That's all of software engineering, not just front end. But okay, that's great. Yes. Yeah. Making architectural decisions. That's the fourth point that I spoke of, right? So test cases is one. I will add it to my poll the next time around. Thank you. And so basically, our biggest problem was making architectural decisions. It was never the speed of typing code. Yet, you see Sam Altman come on a stage and tell you, and all these Anthropic guys come on a stage and tell you 60% of developer jobs are going to go just because we type code faster. Please check out Claude 4, please check out Claude 3.5. All of them have almost similar intelligence levels, at least when they come to front end. And Claude 3.5 was released, I believe, don't quote me on this, even though I'm being recorded, but around a year or so ago now, right? So there's been no intelligence increase since then. So that's the difficult part to understand here. And this is where we come to the craft renaissance that you see behind me. As AI will handle routine implementations, it will give you more time for user experience design. It will help you do deeper focus dives into your component architecture itself. It will give you better accessibility and performance optimization and thoughtful error handling. Test cases. Please, can you stand up? Test cases. This was our previous person who was talking as part of the group, and he basically mentioned test cases. First of all, have you tried writing just test cases with AI yet? Perfect. And if you integrate it with something like BDD, have you tried that? Maybe Gherkin or something on those lines?
Nope, not yet.
All right. So you can try Gherkin and BDD here. That is the next step after you write just test cases. Ideally, you should do it beforehand, but that's what the experts say, but I don't believe it. I believe test cases come first, then you go further. Try it out, behavioral driven development. That actually fits very well with AI development. Because what it does is that it will give you test cases and you can leave an AI agent running overnight and it will keep on iterating over those test cases without you, and at the same time it will reach a goal that you want to reach, not just what you coded in the test case. So one can you give us like a quick example of how your workflow has changed in the last 15 days to 30 days since the release of things like operator, since the release of things like Claude 4 Opus in all of these cursor max and all of these places? Has there been a major change for you?
Some of them, yes. So yeah, previously, I mean, before I've started using AI, I used to write components, let's say, and maybe hooks. And after that, I used to write tests for it, covering all the edge cases, all the nitty-gritties, so that if something changes along the line, the test cases catch them. But now I've only started focusing on the hooks part. I leave the complete testing of it to the AI. So it like boosted my time twice, I think, by 2 times.
Okay. All right. All right. That's good to know. But have you tried doing that when you change the components? By the way.
Have I tried doing that when I changed? What exactly do you mean
So
by
let's
that?
say you have a test case, you add a component, you upgrade the component, maybe a minor version upgrade or a semi minor version upgrade. But
Mhm.
what happens then? Do you update the test cases yourself?
Yes. No, I saw AI.
Still use AI.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now here's what you are doing in a relatively roundabout manner.
Mm-hmm.
You have set up guardrails, you have set up constraints, and you are integrating using those constraints, right? What
Yes.
I am here to teach is constraint based prompting itself from the first go. Please do sit down if you want to. No worries, guys. uh, you must all be prompting AI to do your work for you. Yes. Can I need 5 volunteers? I need you to come here quickly, and I need you to tell me one or two of your prompts that you've written in the last 5 days. That's it. To everybody here, not just me. It's okay. We don't prompt shame. Come on, come on. Where? We are equal opportunity promptists. We have all prompts with us. Here we go for the first one.
Create a custom hook for using local storage, state management on local storage and URLs.
Any more UI related hook just for the ease of juniors here as well to understand? Any more, any something that would have directly correlated with your UI and not the underlying state management?
With the UI. So, yeah. So, from my experience, it's really difficult. Like, I often have a Figma with me or some kind of screenshot that I want, and AI is really not good at it. So I hardly ever use it for building components. Rather, I would just use it for building smaller logic like hooks and all.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So basically, what he's saying is that the components are going from design to code. You can use something like Anima plugin. I'm not sure if you guys use that or something else. There are a number of plugins available, and you can use those to directly convert Figma into that. And then he uses prompts like create a hook for local storage to store XYZ for the internal state management there. Great. Can you go next?
So recently I got a design from designer. So just take a screenshot and give it to the reply. So that's it.
Uh,
And
can you give us an example of your prompt once? Have you prompted AI to create an React component in the last 5-10 days? Whatever comes to your mind. No need to be specific. Just tell us one prompt that you've written there.
just optimize the code. If I give the code and
All right. A prompt was optimize the code. Can we go to the next one?
Okay, sure. Can you all hear me? Yeah. So recently I've been contributing to an open source project called Civics. So the problem that I had was the front page or the home page of the project had some reference and validation errors. So what I did was to have that project in my code editor, and I used to give really big prompts to the AI. What I do is to use a strategy for prompting. I assign roles, I assign task, I give some context, and then I ask the AI that what the expected outcome should be. So this was the problem that I was facing. I asked the AI that you are a professional front-end developer with X plus years of experience. This and this is the task that I am facing, and this is the situation. There are some validation and reference errors. The expected outcome should be that there should be everything clean and neat on the console, on the code editor, and as well as in the developer tools on the Chrome as well. This is what I've been expecting, and I have told each and everything in detail to the AI, and surprisingly, it gave me the expecting results. And secondly, I had to rewrite the backend of that project. And again, I did the same thing. I tried to segregate the different folders. The thing was that the entire backend was written in a single file called server.js. I tried to segregate it into different components, such as the utils, routes, controllers, and everything to have a modular
Can you
code.
stick to front end just for brevity's sake right now?
Yeah, sure. So that was the part I told you about, reference and validation errors.
Good.
So I assigned the roles, the context, and explained the situation. Then I got the outcome.
Perfect. Got you. So you use basically the roles method where you created a role, you told it the context, what was coming in, and then you trusted it to get to the final result. Yes? Perfect.
So I am actually Angular developer. Previously, I used to work on React. So the problem I was facing this week was there was a lot of if-else cases in our component. I wanted to make it kind of configuration driven. Let's say the query based if-else and everything, that if it includes and everything. So I prompted like we have actually a different component and take help from that component and build like this. The actual conditions won't break, so it used that fallback methods and everything, so it worked fine, but I still had to make changes in terms of configuration in order to give to PMO team, and they can just put the links, and I got it work just by putting that. Yep.
So you use the reference method then.
Yep.
You created a model component, you pointed AI to that to
Mhm.
basically copy over the fundamentals from that component.
Yep.
The issue was that you did not prompt it or tell it anything apart from that. That is why you had to do end level work as well after that. Yes.
Possible, yep.
And I'm assuming it was not just 30%, it was probably 50-50, where it got you to 50% stage and the rest 50% was something that you had to do yourself, where you had to mangle with the code and stuff.
10 to
Which is
20% had to do.
yeah.
Yep. At the end of it.
Got it. Just before you go, once quickly, we have seen a prompt optimize. We have seen a person take a prompt where they specify the goals, they specify the role, they specify the context, and then get it done. We have seen a prompt right now where they use reference, where they create an ideal component by whatever other way they want. Once that ideal component is there, it provides a reference which allows it to pick up on hidden patterns in that component and utilize those patterns onto other components, basically. So these are three kinds of prompts that we have seen, from beginner, intermediate to advanced.
So like just a few days back, like when Cursor had the upper limit of 500 fast API requests, I used to write really big prompts. I tried API integration with it. I would give the endpoint the API contract and then ask to create a Redux action. And in the same prompt, I'd also ask it to integrate with the component. So I'd build the component first, only the designs, and then ask it to integrate, and it would do it perfectly. I mean, very minimal problems I'd face.
Perfect. So here we again were somewhere on the spectrum of the intermediate prompt. Yes. So guys, do you see some similarity here? This is for the senior and intermediate devs here. Do you see the similarity in here in sharing the information to how you would do it to a junior? Yes or no? You would do the same thing with a junior? Yes? What else do you do for a junior? I'll give you an example. Some of you write Jira stories. Some of you write some scaffolding for the component. Some of you have written SOP one time and you give it out to your new devs. Yes, guys, this is mostly what we do. I'll give you an example to showcase the difference. I'll be taking up all these three beginner, intermediate, and advanced parts, and I'll be adding constraints as well to it. This is the guardrails and the constraints part. This I have to read through because it's a mouthful. So instead of writing create a user profile component, you need to write create a user profile component that follows our composition pattern, accepts user data as props, delegates image handling to our image component, uses our themes spacing tokens, and provides clear prop interfaces for parent components to handle user actions. Yes, sounds like a mouthful, and you must be feeling that okay, why and how can I type it again and again? For that, there are very easy tools available. If you are using Windsurf, you can use workflows. You can just put it there, and you can add a template in terms of the component that you want to add. All right. Now I'll quickly walk you through what happens here. I basically use the context handoff pattern over here to ensure that all your context is handled, and at the same time you're setting constraints in terms of what AI does not intuitively understand about React. I'll repeat it once again, this time slower. It accepts user data as props, delegates image handling to our image component, uses our themes spacing tokens. You must have seen this, guys, if you were using themes at the back. If you guys were using themes, have you seen that AI repeatedly goes back to using the generic Tailwind classes again and again? Yes? That's because it was mostly trained on those. That's the because most of its neurons basically light up when it hears Tailwind, and it would want to make a 2XL class there, even if you don't even have 2XL and you have deleted it from your theme. Right, guys? Something on those lines happens, And why, to not make that happen, you need to be explicit with AI. That is what has been missing. Now, all of this is well and great. You must be thinking that, okay, we are still at the 70% wall. What changed? What changed was, before this, you had to walk 3 steps, 3 prompts or 4 prompts to get to that 70%. With this kind of a workflow based prompt, which is easily setting up the constraints and telling AI what it should be considering, you will reach that 70% with 1 step. Now the 30% is still left. Yes? Does anybody think here otherwise? Please raise your hands. It's fine if you want to be contrarian. No? Great. This is something that I've already told you with the constraint approach. This is a practical example of a dashboard. Here the human decides, AI generates, and the human orchestrates. So the human tells it the composition pattern, state strategy, theming, all of these things go hand in hand with configuration based theming. So I was glad that the talk at the last was shifted to the first one, because that actually connects with my talk very, very clearly. You saw how configuration theming existed before, right? How they've done that, and they've even pulled out a lot of if conditions there. Do you know what that does? That reduces your AI's context. Because now that AI can go through that one configuration file, knows all the variants, can do whatever you want. You can even create a freaking chat bot there and give it to your customer support or users, whoever you want to give it to. And you can have them talk with that AI chatbot to customize the theme and use your components accordingly. Simple as that. It sounds a mouthful, it's not. It's literally 2.5 days worth of job here, considering that you have a mildly understanding AI engineer available. So now what's your job as a front-end engineer? Can anybody here, senior engineers? This is for you.
But I'm not a React developer.
You have done React before?
No, no, never.
Okay. Can I talk to one of the React senior engineers that raise their hands, please? Can you? We don't have any React senior engineer here. Anybody who's worked with React 3 to 5 years? 3 years? Anyone else as well? No, it's fine. Okay. Let's ask you. Where do you see React development going after this? Yes. Second mic's here. It's on.
Yeah. I think we as engineers will start defining architecture more. Will not be defining all the nitty-gritties in the code itself. Will be breaking down the problems into simpler chunks, and the AI will be the one that will start picking these up and code it for us. That's where I see.
Bang on. That's exactly where we are getting to. And have you guys seen this anywhere else before? How many of you were alive in 2000? In the year
Just
2000? Year 2000. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And not just software, you must have seen so many things happen. The electricity grids were just established properly. Before that, electricity in India was very sparse, right? While the world was working towards servers and, data rooms, we were working towards just getting electricity everywhere. And the year 2000 was the first year where this electricity usage passed a certain threshold. I'm not aware of the threshold right now, but it passed that threshold. Now, please do sit. Um, as you might have heard in Andre Karpathy's talk in YC Startup School, if you have not, he compared AI with electricity, guys. So it's like electricity, it's like a utility which everybody needs. I personally know people who spend $250 a day on using AI. They spend it on using Claude Code. Anthropic, if you guys are looking to partner, I'm up for it. But $250 a day means $6,000 a month. That's literally a developer's salary outside in US. It's like an average developer's salary out there. So that says something, right? We are at exactly the stage where the agricultural revolution was, when they replaced farmers with machines. So you had a lot more agriculture, but you had a lot less farmers. That's what happened there. Why? Because the machines themselves took up a lot of that extra work that those farmers had to do, which was low skilled. So the same thing is happening with us software engineers. We have enjoyed a very privileged life, if I dare say so myself. And at this point, what I'm looking at is something a bit apocalyptic but a lot more hopeful. And that is that we have just invented the combine harvester of software engineering, right? And what that means is low skilled jobs will not be there. It's going to get difficult for the freshers, for the people who are at the lower stages of their career development right now. But having said that, once they pass through the difficult stages, it will get that much more easier for them. And I see so many senior engineers coming out of retirement, it's not even funny anymore. I'm not kidding. As soon as AI started, I got calls from like all my previous bosses almost within the span of 1 to 2 quarters of when Claude released its 3.5 Sonnet. And all of them were like, hey, I thought AI will retire without AI, affecting us, but I think it's going to affect us right now. And you know what? Their voice was not scared. Their voice was that of an excited kid, because they're like, finally, it takes away all our boring bits and it gets us to do what we really love doing. So, guys, the moral of the story is the human advantage will get amplified with AI. What happens now is you need to understand empathy, you need to understand systems thinking, you need to understand context, creative problem solving, quality judgment. All these qualities you were supposed to develop as a senior engineer or a senior architect wherever you went. Wherever you went, whatever you did, front end, back end, DevOps, MLOps, fintech, wherever you went, in whatever vertical you were at. What that means is, for the juniors, I have a challenge. Your only job right now, within the next 12 to 24 months, is to become a senior engineer as fast as you can. For the seniors, I have another challenge. If you guys can take up 5 engineers in your own organization, just mentor them, give them half an hour a week. Half an hour a week means if you're taking 5 of them, every workday, give half an hour to one person that you can mentor. You'll realize that you'll find a lot more insights into what you're doing with the young crowd, because they are not biased like us. We have spent a lot more time. It feels weird, to be honest, to say we here, but okay. Um, we've spent a lot of time doing things a certain way. The juniors have not. I yesterday went to an event where I saw a person who had dropped out from class 10th, was a question setter for code forces, understands Bayesian probability theory much better than me, can code an LLM by himself, got personally invited by Paras Chopra to actually do a riffing session with him, right? Then this was, I think he's not even, I think he's barely 18 right now. So I met this kind of a person. And before this, in December, I met 2 class 10th students. They were from Jammu and Kashmir. They're safe right now. But they flew down for a hackathon in IIT Bombay in December. And they made they made second in that whole hackathon. This was an all India hackathon. These are 2 class 10th kids. Guys, do you understand the irony here? So the people who do not have the bias but they can get the resources, they will speed across. It's another renaissance. If you have ever been interested in the French Renaissance, you would love the time that we are in. In the French Renaissance, the guy who was the painter, I'm going to keep it down now. The guy who was the painter was also your engineer, was also an inventor, was also a chemist. Do you know of Leonardo da Vinci? Yes? You have seen how many things he's done. And if you have read your notebooks, if you have read your books, have you talked about a bunch of inventors like Newton or Turing in their time? And have you seen that they invented in physics, chemistry, maths, and sometimes even in entertainment? Who knows that a lot of these inventors also love to write plays? Never heard of that, right? It got lost somewhere. It got lost when we were building this new world of technology. And now we are at a position where we are comfortable enough, and thanks to our seniors and our forefathers, we are at a position where we can create an AI based world which will take away the grunt work and now finally brings us back to the same place. Just before the industrial revolution, you had a renaissance. Yes, guys, we know that already. This is where we are at already in AI terms. And because of social media and globalization, we are going faster than ever. If you don't know this already, India used to lag behind US around 20, 25, 20 to 30 years behind. Right now, in terms of AI, we are the number one or number two users for ChatGPT. I myself saw their chief strategic officer sign an MOU with our with the director of our AI initiative in India, with our government. There's a reason behind that, right? I hope you guys understand that. The reason is very simple. We communicate more. We in the past 10 years, we did not look for ways to reduce connection. We always talked with people. Whereas a lot of the Western ideology, which is more individualistic in nature, has lost some of that touch. So right now, we finally have a leg up in terms of context and understanding of what is happening. Like right now, I see a lot of these Western Twitter handles who you might follow. Who knows Didi? Here, who follows Didi? DEEDY. Okay, one. All right. So I'll just give it to you short here. If you know people like Varun Maya, if you know people like Didi, if you know people like Parashopta, people like these who are on the forefront of the thought leadership here, yes, they might be talking about LLM basics and LLM internals, which you do not want to learn, but I would strongly recommend following them just to understand their thought patterns. Don't understand what they're teaching, understand how they are teaching. And when you understand that, you will be able to teach your own AI better. That's the fun part about it. And just to give you an example, we are at 1 bitnet. We are at 1 bit LLMs, by the way. Our LLMs have gone as small as 1 bits and they can be run in an edge device. Okay, it's coming. And if you do not upskill, it's coming for your job as well. Because see, business at the end of it is not about humans. Business at the end of it is about profit, whether we like it or not. Yes. And if a business sees profit somewhere, they'll go there. But as a human, you have the power to be the linchpin in any organization that you are at. There's a really good book by Seth Godin. You can check it out. Just search for linchpin, LYNCHPIN, and just read through it. It teaches you all these concepts that I've talked about that you need, and it's sort of funny that it's a lot about marketing and not about tech, but somehow somewhere tech has been converging with marketing, sales, and all of these other skill sets, and that will create a good opportunity and a bad opportunity. Good for those who are ever present learners, bad for those who do not want to learn more. So it's up to you which side you're on. You can either fight the 70% wall, we come back to our initial argument, you can either fight the 70% wall or you can embrace the architectural thinking. To embrace the architectural thinking, you need to break away from the bond that I am a front-end engineer and I will only create interfaces. No. You need to own business processes. You need to go to your stakeholders and ask them, hey, why am I creating this? Why do we need this? Do we even need this? And then ask those questions. You don't need to fight with them. You can go in and ask their reasoning. Understand that reasoning because they're seniors. They understand something more than you, right? And try to apply that reasoning yourself. And I can assure you, if you can do that consistently for 12 months, you will be worlds apart from wherever you are right now, no matter if you are a 1 year experienced engineer, a fresher, or a 12 years, 20-year veteran, 30-year veteran over here. You guys will be 10x or 100x better engineers in the next 12 months if you can do this consistently. Just half an hour per day is all it takes. So that's the end goal here. As I said, stop coding, start architecting, and now is the right time to start playing the game that only humans can win. LLMs predict, LLMs don't empathize. LLMs help you understand. LLMs cannot understand. Yet at least. AGI comes in, I don't know what we'll do. But yeah. Cool guys, that's it from my talk. I'll repeat the thesis one more time so that we can take it away as our value of where we stand. AI isn't making us faster coders. It's forcing us to become architects. And that's actually the most valuable thing that could happen to your. Thank you guys.